Hello, welcome, and thanks for watching. Anybody who plays DayZ on PC has probably heard of the new modded map called Esseker, which has become immensely popular despite being a work in progress. It's only about a third done, and it's still one of the most popular maps on PC right now. What we do have the map is absolutely stunning. It has a really awesome lived-in feel, and personally it reminds me of The Last of Us. The map's developers dropped the 0.52 update yesterday, which fixed some of the zombies and door issues, tweaked some military locations, and added some spawns to some of the secret caves across the map. I thought this would be a good time to make a loot guide showing you guys where to find the best loot on this new map. This video is going to show you all of the military locations, the hunting locations, which are known as resorts, and 3 of the hidden caves with a few little Easter eggs and tips along the way. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, please subscribe and maybe peruse my other DayZ guide videos. Let's get started by talking about the military locations since, let's be honest, that's probably what you're here for. The first location I want to cover is a lesser known one. It doesn't have a name on the map, so I'm going to call it the Radar Military Base. The Radar Military Base has had a reworking in yesterday's patch. Here's the old version, and here's the new version. It has all the same assets, but they're just organized in a bit of a different way. It has an L-shaped barrack, a camo jail, a yellow barrack, make sure to check the roof of this one, a guard shack, and of course, the radar dish, which appears to have grown some ivy on it since the last patch. Next up, we have Igman Military Base, located in the far north. This is a decent place to find some military ammo and guns, but it's also an area that is close to a lot of spawn points on many servers, so you're going to see a lot of fresh spawns scavenging here. Be careful to check for snipers on the southern rocks and the northern hill. As you can see, Igman has 3 military tents, 2 guard towers, an HQ building, a military guard shack, and an Arma 3 barracks, which in my opinion usually has the most loot in this area. Next up, we'll check out the Posestra Military Base, located further south. Posestra Military is a pretty secure base. There is an okay vantage point on the western hill, but the walls are kind of high, so it isn't really the best. If you don't have a rifle and you want to sneak in, there are holes in the fence and the concrete wall on the eastern side. Posestra has 2 guard towers, a bunker and a guard shack, and a camo jail and an A3 barrack. There's also a static helicopter, but it doesn't seem to spawn any loot. Next up, let's talk about the military location in the Esseker Zoo. I'm not going to cover the zoo as a whole, but I will say that there are many hunting shops, pubs, and some blue medical buildings scattered around. They've also added some new military areas on the east and west side to the new patch. The zoo military has a couple of summer cabins, 2 barracks, a mini ATC, and an HQ building. There's also a bunch of cool stuff down below this military area to explore, but I want to show you one little secret. Go past the barracks and look over the guardrail to see a small platform. If you vault over and jump down to this, you can access a secret fenced-off area underneath this military location. Next up is the Esseker City Police Compound. This place is absolutely nuts. I've never been here without getting into some sort of firefight. It has 2 guard towers on top of the hospital and tech buildings, a police station and an HQ building, a camo jail building, and a buttload of police cars. A few tips for this area. The only way in and out are the hospital and the main entrance next to the police station. There's a cheeky little sniper location outside the east side of the compound. If you have the stamina, jump up on the green stilted house's roof and use the rooftops as a sniper location. Additionally, if you're feeling brave, you can walk on the perimeter fencing for other sniper spots, but I wouldn't recommend it. Finally, let's talk about the airfield in the southern part of the map. The airfield is very large, and the Esseker developers have mentioned that they plan to add more to it in the future. At the moment, it has an ATC building, 2 old school hangars, an HQ building, A little further west, we have 2 barracks, 2 bunkers, a whole mess of police cars, which are great for pistol suppressors and pioneer rifle mags, and then finally a guard shack at the entrance. Let's talk about resorts. Resorts on Esseker are what I usually call summer camps on other maps. These are areas that spawn hunting loot like weapon cleaning kits, blazes, tundras, Mosins, and scopes for all of the above. First, let's take a look at the most popular one, the Neptune Resort. The Neptune Resort can be a chaotic place because it sits right on a cliff overlooking the main river, with cliffs and hills surrounding it on all sides. Watch out for snipers on the northern hill, the western rocks, and the southern rocks. The resort has a whole mess of summer camps on the east side, a grocery store in the middle, and 4 civilian barracks on the west side. I'd also recommend checking picnic tables, cars, and these garages for loot as well. You could also look in all the little nooks and crannies and bushes. These are areas where people sometimes stash extra guns that they can't carry that they can come back for later. Next, let's take a look at the Chardak Resort, further east. I'd say this is the weakest of the resorts because it has more hunting pubs than summer cabins, but it still has the odd rifle or scope laying about. It definitely has a ton of bear traps because I've stepped on at least a dozen here, so watch out for those. As for buildings, it has a hunting store, 3 hunting pubs, 2 summer cabins, and a brick pub. Next up, we have an unnamed resort located southeast of Tuck. This resort has a couple of summer cabins, a well, a brick pub, and a couple of cars that are definitely worth looting. Now before we wrap up, I've got a few random tips for you for finding the best loot. A great place to find military and medical loot on Esseker is in any tall apartment building. There are a ton of these throughout the city and in a few of the towns. It takes a while to check each and every room on every floor, but I promise you that it's going to be worth it. If you're feeling dangerous, you can also use the power lines to cross from one apartment to another. One of the new parts of this update includes adding loot spawns to some of the caves scattered around the map. I've found 3 caves so far. The first one is labeled on the map and it's called Gromada. It is north of Borosh. In the same area you'll find, and I'm going to butcher this, Lockvie Lake, which has another cave on the north side. Finally, we have a cave located near the Neptune Resort. You may recognize this cave from my first adventure on Esseker video. Check it out if you're up for some action and adventure. It'll show you a lot more of the locations we've been talking about today. Obviously, Esseker has become incredibly popular, even though only about 1/3 of the map has been released. I'm really looking forward to the larger map with more to explore. The devs are planning on updating the airfield next in preparation for a big southern expansion. They even tease an endgame underground base called Plava Vrana, which is going to be really interesting. I'll continue to make location guides for the map as it's released, so be sure to subscribe if you want to check those out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.